Hello and welcome to the Ilene Silverman Show. I'm your host, Ilene, and on this week's program, our guest, Chip Skinner, senior coach for Gainesville area lacrosse, tells us all about lacrosse opportunities for middle and high school students through the newly formed GALAXI, and Buchholz High School junior Joe Crispin shares his success story through lacrosse. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for our program. I'm delighted to introduce my guest, Chip Skinner, president of GALAXI, Gainesville Area Lacrosse, and senior coach at GALAXI, and Buchholz High School JV coach. And Chip, you have other titles too.
Oh yes, many different hats.
Many different hats that you're wearing.
Yes.
But I'm delighted you're here to discuss the lacrosse hat.
Oh,
and,
thank you for having me.
Oh, certainly. And look, you've decorated our set. I love that we have all the lacrosse equipment. We kind of have another person here ready to play. So thank you for all of this. I feel I'm just enmeshed in the whole, scenario, and I've enjoyed already learning a bit about lacrosse, and every time I mention it, somebody has a very positive lacrosse story.
Yes.
Even about Buchholz and our whole Gainesville area lacrosse. So help us get started into what is Gainesville area lacrosse.
Sure.
And we know, and you're talking about youth lacrosse.
Yes. So this is a middle school program, but we accept all ages as well as it is unisex. So when everybody is starting off with lacrosse, you start with the basic skill set. So you're catching, passing, and shooting. So it doesn't matter what age, what experience level, you all start at the same level.
Oh, good to know.
Yes. So with that, my kids were involved with lacrosse here in the area. My son went to GHS, my daughter went to Eastside, and they started when they were in middle school. So there was a program called GALAXI, which was Gainesville Area Lacrosse Association. So GALAXI was started by the Milanoffs, who I have followed in their footsteps, where they were taking lacrosse to the actual middle schools with equipment and starting kids off there to create feeder programs for high schools, both on the men's and women's side.
Okay, so from one, you'd move up, and you mentioned that wonderful family and all they've done when we were talking earlier to bring lacrosse to this community.
Yes, they were involved for well over a decade here in the area. Wow. And so they were getting older and wanting to spend time with their family, so they had retired, and unfortunately the program kind of died off. So what we saw, I was involved with high school coaching at the time in lacrosse, so we were seeing different programs starting to fall by the wayside. PK Young, their coach, left. They did not have a program. Then Eastside followed. And a lot of it was, lack of feeder programs, lack of development of coaches. Going. Yes.
Now, did the pandemic have any effect on that?
The pandemic was horrendous.
Yes.
2020 was a horrible year. We had about 3 games in, and the season got canceled. So that has kind of changed.
That brought it further down.
Yes. And that changed the complexity of lacrosse in our area, too. We had to start looking at more safety features. The Milanoffs' vision of taking equipment and throwing it in a trailer and rinsing it off and taking it back out to the kids, that model, you could not do that. So what we have now is we have equipment that we can loan kids. They don't need their own equipment. We do sanitize it with bleach and disinfecting wipes each time. Now we know more about COVID, so we have to do actually a little bit less. We were going kind of overboard before with the bleach, but trying to be safe. And we've been getting equipment donations as well, and as donations come in, and working with different local companies as well as national companies that are looking at lacrosse, because it is the fastest sport on 2 legs, but it is also the fastest growing sport in the United States. That's what I'm beginning
to understand.
Yes.
Yes, which I find enthralling, because now you have, and the fact, as you said, it's you start off on an equal footing. So I think it gives a lot of kids an opportunity to become athletic. And maybe they didn't call themselves athletic, but lacrosse might give them that opportunity.
Correct. We see a lot of that, and we even see athletes in other sports like football, for instance, that come out and they cross over very easily. And basketball, a lot of people don't realize that basketball is actually based on lacrosse principles on offense and defense. Coach Naismith, many people don't know, but he was a lacrosse player and coach before he invented basketball. So that is one of the important things that we bring up to kids because it allows them to understand that they can cross over from different sports.
Yes, that is important to know, and I'm learning a bit more of the history of lacrosse and how it all evolved.
Oh yes, and it is one of the best sports out there when you're talking about conditioning and running for the kids, as well as it's a gentleman's sport, but they also have to have a little bit of an attitude, so it lets them get out some of that aggression on the field as well.
I like that. Good explanation. Yes. We're going to take a quick break, but we have lots more to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're talking about Gainesville area lacrosse, GALAXI. I'm pleased to welcome back Chip Skinner and to introduce Joseph Crispin, volunteer coach with GALAXI and a student at Buchholz High School. Glad to have you join us.
Thanks
Joe.
for having me.
Certainly. And this is actually, it's exciting for me. You're what, a junior?
I am. I'm a junior at Buchholz High School.
Okay, so I get to talk to somebody
Yes.
going to high school, and I enjoy the conversation. And I want to know, how did you first get to know Coach Chip?
Well, actually, I met him at Lacrosse Club Gainesville, which is the club team in Gainesville. And then he coached me my JV years at Buchholz.
Okay, I understand. But what drew you to lacrosse?
Originally, my friends brought me into the sport, but I originally got into it at GALAXI, like Chip's kids.
Okay, and explain that, GALAXI, so I know.
GALAXI was the predecessor to GALAXI, so that was with the Millenoffs, and they had brought that program to the schools, and that was our feeder program for our high schools that has now gone defunct.
Okay, but fitting it all back together.
Yes.
I appreciate that. And I hear that you've gotten your sisters involved, Joe.
I did. I got my 2 younger sisters into the program, and they're going to be learning the sport of lacrosse through GALAXI.
So now it's a whole family.
Yes.
Yes. Well, and GALAXI is a family.
Oh, yes, it is. I always tell my parents when the kids come on board that I treat them like my sons. Whether that's good or bad, I guess you would have to talk to my kids to find out for sure. But, Joe has been a great mentor for kids out there. He's very gentle in nature, the way he handles himself. He is an asset not just to his family, but also to the GALAXI family as well, because we do not worry about sending him out anywhere and being a representative of our organization. And he's going to teach the kids the proper way and the proper skills to be a successful lacrosse player as well as a successful person in life. Because if you didn't know, he is also an Eagle Scout.
Oh, you did tell me that,
Yes.
but I'm glad you're sharing that. Well said and appropriately expressed on behalf of Joe. And and tell me a bit about being an Eagle Scout. Do you feel that has helped you in your approach to coaching and working with youngsters?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like being a Boy Scout taught me a lot of leadership skills and just overall life skills that I'm able to use when coaching some of the kids at GALAXI.
Yes. And it seems so important in this day and time because we know there are lots of kids struggling in our community, families where dads are not present, no brothers, I'm sure you're a role model to many.
Yep.
And that makes for quite a special friendship. Do you find kids can come speak to either of you and maybe can't to their parents, or are you able to reach out to them?
Well, I know
for guidance.
Joe has now moved on to varsity, so he's away from me, but he actually heard that there were some difficulties that we were having on our JV team, and he actually did reach out to me through our group chat and actually showed up to practice, showing his support for that team and helping mentoring those boys and listening to them and bringing it back to the coaches where they may not be comfortable speaking to us and in front of their teammates, but they would speak to somebody that was their age and had moved on and wasn't necessarily in that situation. So Joe's been able to help us quite a bit with that aspect on the high school level.
Right, okay, that helps me understand. Remind me again, where did you go to middle school?
I went to middle school at Knapp.
Okay. Now, about how many days or hours per week do you get involved with GALAXI and lacrosse?
At the moment, it's only 1 day a week on Saturdays.
Okay,
But,
the clinic. All right.
but as it goes on and evolves, I'm assuming there'll be more practices with the middle school throughout the week, and I'll plan on helping with those.
With the summer clinics and things that are looking ahead. And then with, as you know, school starts again and things will start to move forward, and you have your senior year, so you still have Joe to be helping.
Yes, and one of the great things is we offer for Bright Future scholarships as well as many programs in our area now. You have to have volunteer hours. And that's one of the great things that we offer. Not only are we mentoring them to coach, but we also allow them the opportunity to get their volunteer hours for graduation.
Oh, excellent. Well done. Yes. So many important aspects of lacrosse. And we've got more to talk about. We're going to take another quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're talking about GALAXI, Gainesville Area Lacrosse, with Chip Skinner and Joe Crispin. And Joe, remind me, you started in one position, right?
I did.
Okay. And what was that?
I started on defense, which is the long pole that we have here.
Okay, all right. And then you switched.
And then I switched to offense, which primarily uses the shorter pole.
Okay, good. Now I'm getting to understand all of this different
Yes.
equipment. Now tell me more.
So
Okay,
you
Joe.
have a butt end, which is the
Okay,
bottom
here.
part of the stick,
Right.
the one that you're holding.
Okay,
And then you have the shaft,
the shaft.
and then the crux or the head.
Excellent.
So those are the three main parts of the stick,
Okay.
and it's been called the crux or a stick going way back when the French first named it lacrosse when they saw the Native Americans playing it.
And until I followed some of that history, looked it up, I had no idea how far back in time, lacrosse goes, that it begins so...
It predates the European settlers
Yes.
coming here.
Yes. And what about, would it be different for women's team versus men's?
Yes. I actually have a women's stick over at the
Okay,
other side.
okay. I kinda like
But
holding
this is
this.
called the
Okay.
pocket here.
All right.
And the women's pocket is much shallower. So they actually have a little bit different, so you can see how the
Okay, I
ball
see how it
sacks in the
goes
pocket
down.
there.
Right.
So it's a little bit different motion when they're cradling. So they kind of go in front of their face because it's much shallower. Whereas the boys, we have contact, the girls do not. So the boys have a deeper pocket so they can hold onto the ball when someone's coming up and making body contact or coming in and doing a lift or a stick check.
Okay, so there's differences.
Yes.
I understand.
And we always
what about
start
the
off.
balls?
Yes.
Show
This
us
is an
that.
actual lacrosse ball, so it is hard, solid rubber, as you can hear.
Yep.
But we start off all of the middle school kids with a much softer rubber ball, so you can see it's squishy. So you can see that
Okay,
one.
yeah, this is sort of, I'm there starting with
And
the
so
young
that way we don't have to pad the kids up. We
Okay.
don't have to put helmets on them because they're simply doing their ground balls, they're passing, they're catching, they're shooting. So we do like to have them have helmets on if they're actually passing with a harder ball, but the softer balls, it can hit you and you're not going to have any injury, which is one of the recommendations that is set forth by U.S. Lacrosse, which is who we are insured through, and it's one of the partnerships that we have.
You've got some good partnerships, and all your coaches receive a great deal of training.
Yes. All of the main coaches that we have,
Right.
most of us are Alachua County coaches, so we've gone through the school board process and we coach local teams. But then we also request that any of our other main coaches that will be going out in the fall to these middle schools that may not coach with us on the high school level
Right.
go through U.S. Lacrosse and also become certified coaches.
Okay, excellent. So everybody can approach it with a lot of confidence that your coaches are well trained.
Yes, because we have to go through different modules, including bullying and identifying different things that may be going on in people's families as well. So that helps us with our mentoring aspect.
Excellent. That goes back to that other conversation of being a role model, and just so appropriate and important. And wait, what about that helmet over there?
Oh, yes. Over the years, helmets have totally evolved because, as we all know, concussions have become more and more prevalent in sports, whether it's soccer, football, or even lacrosse. So
Right.
helmets have become have more padding inside than they've had before. They're more rigid, and then they've also cut down on the weights to help take off the weight off of the neck and the spinal column as
Oh,
well. So that's why you
important.
have all
Okay.
the air holes, which is incredibly important in Florida when we're playing in the
In
the
the
humidity.
heat.
Yes. And then, as you can see behind us, we also
Right.
have chest pads, elbow pads, and gloves.
And then you said you added more padding here.
One of
along
the
way.
new requirements, and this was set forth by the Florida High School Athletic Association and has been adopted by many other states, is the center chest pads have a higher compression now. So they have an extra pad there, so when a high-powered shot, especially on the boys' side, their shots
it
can be
won't.
coming at 80, 90, 100 miles an hour when
Whoa,
you're in the high
okay,
school
that's
level.
a lot at you.
So
Okay.
that's a pound-and-a-half ball hitting you in the chest. We have had kids go into cardiac arrest, not here in our area, but other
But in
places.
other
So
places,
they're
so
trying
we're preventing.
continuously improving the equipment, just like in football, to help prevent these injuries.
Right. And well, I'm glad to know that. And Joe, do you anticipate each game when you're suiting up? Do you kind of get yourself psyched up going out there?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And I look forward to seeing you play in the future. I'm looking forward to that, and I appreciate all your good information, you and, of course, Coach Chip. And we still have more to discuss.
Yes.
So stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back talking about GALAXI, Gainesville Area Lacrosse. And Chip, that was some great information talking with you and Joe. Truly appreciate it.
Yes.
Now even this equipment is starting to make sense to me. Now
Yes.
I've got names for it.
Yes.
But look ahead with us, because I know you have plans for GALAXI. The future, which
Yes.
is now. The future is already upon
Yes,
us.
it is, because we are working on our summer plans right now, and we're going to be holding clinics, weekly clinics. And
Excellent.
then this
and they are
coming-
free, as we've said before.
Yes, they are
Okay.
free and open to all ages, all sexes, all skill levels. We have enough
Okay.
coaches out there we can break everybody up accordingly.
Excellent.
And then this fall, we're going to be back out at our public middle schools, which is very exciting for us.
Yes, because that seems to be where it all begins.
Yes, we partnered with the School Board of Alachua
Right.
Counties.
And explain that.
Yes, we partnered with the Extended Day Enrichment Program, or as many of the parents know it out there as EDEP.
Right.
And that was a way for us to get back into the middle schools like the Millinoffs had with GALAXI to help start these core programs
Right,
and
and-
start the skills building at a younger age.
And then feed it into the high schools.
Correct.
Okay.
So we had 45 families, active families, that came out of 3 middle schools that we were in, and we just got news that we will be able to be in every middle school. So we just reached out to those principals now, and we are lining all of that up for this coming fall, which will be huge and exciting
Chip,
for us.
I know you're so proud and so pleased. And that program through the school board also allows all youngsters to be involved.
Correct. We're going to be able to open it up to all of the school.
Yes.
So those that are in EDEP will be able to come out and use that free. And then we
Good.
will also have a pay program for those that aren't in EDEP so that they may be able to come out and pay a small fee
Right.
and come out and still take advantage of all the programs that we have.
But it really opens the door to so many more youngsters in this area, and
It
it's
does.
so important. And then you were working with mentoring and increasing that opportunity beyond lacrosse, but education and what the future for these young people.
We have our future is incredibly bright. We have endowments, we have people that have included us in their final will and testament so that we can create scholarships in the future. So we're going to be around for a long time.
Yes. Oh, wait, tournaments? You're thinking of travel?
Yes.
We've got trophies. We've got.
Well, what we're going to do with the middle schools is
Okay.
we're hoping that we're going to create individual teams, and we're going to have a round robin tournament at the end of the year, and
Okay.
that would be around the holidays, and have a holiday tournament, and then that school will have bragging rights and get to take a trophy back to the school until the following year. And then
And
our
then
plans
you
are
rotate it. Okay,
within,
depending.
if they win it 3 years in a row, they get to put it in their trophy case
Okay,
and
well
keep the
done.
trophy.
I see. And then what about coaching for, training for your coaches?
That's, we have an extensive program that we've been working on, and that's one of the things that we're excited to have young people like Joe involved with the program.
Right.
Because if he stays in the area, that is fantastic. But if he moves on and we've taught him the appropriate way to coach kids and relate to these kids and be a mentor for these kids and a father figure and a role model for them, it just increases his well-being and self-worth, as well as those kids that he's helping. So with us being able to take them under our wing and them to learn from us and then carry that on and maybe move it to another part of the country is fabulous. And that's the ultimate form of flattery for us as coaches.
It is to say, I'm bringing this program forward, and to know that you're helping all of you, all the other coaches with you, all the young people like Joe, to know that you're helping others and to enjoy the sport of lacrosse and to get out there and play and
Yes.
and have that attitude and of course want to win, but it goes beyond that, and you are truly creating an asset to our community through GALAXI.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I love the logo.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yes, the t-shirts, the pen,
And that was
everything.
designed by a local company. We try to keep things local whenever we possibly can. So, we try to use those local vendors and our connections here in the area.
Well, it means so much, and I really thank you, Chip, and certainly Joe, for sharing so much positive information
And
with
if
us.
anybody is interested in coaching, donating their time, want to learn more about the sport, they can find
Go
out
where?
more on our Facebook page, and
Yes.
it's Gainesville Area Lacrosse Inc. or GALAXI with an I, not a Y.
Yes, I like that. And thank you once again.
Oh, thank you, Ilene.
Oh, certainly. And I'm so glad that you tuned in, and I hope you will join us next week. Take care.